Alright, sup fellow citizens, welcome back to the Path of Rage and our weekly Star Citizen update. We have both too much going on and not enough at the same time, depending on whether you're playing live or PTU. As far as overall updates go across the board, we don't have very many, but what we do have is kind of worth talking about, so let's get into it. The first thing that we need to get out of the way is the current state of 4.2.1 Live, which has gone to a bunch of hot fixes, but unfortunately the elevators at outposts for that first mission, for the resource drive, and for other missions as well, for all of them, they're still broken, they're not working. Some hot fixes have come in, some people have had success, but other people haven't even been able to get past the first hauling mission. That needs work. The 4.3 PTU patch has some potential fixes for it as well, so hopefully that'll be taken care of. But that's where things stand right now in 4.2.1. Everything else aside from those elevators seems to be working fairly well. You know, Star Citizen fairly well, let's put it that way, but fairly well. It's those elevators that continue to be the biggest problem, especially because this is a time-limited event and everyone's focused on it. They need to fix that. What I would like to see them do is to leave the event, just come out with a statement and say, hey, we hope these fixes are going to come in with the 4.3 patch coming up very soon, and we're going to extend the event after that when we do get things working. I think that'd be the best thing for them to do. Now, that also brings up the new PTU. On this weekend, they put out an Evocati only 4.3 patch, which I was not able to get into. I was deathly sick. But on Sunday, they took what was apparently a fairly stable PTU patch, which we haven't had one of those in a while, fairly stable with a lot of new stuff added in, and went to all backers. Not wave one or, progressive waves, all backers. I think that this is an awesome thing. The footage you're seeing in the background right now is from that PTU patch, and yes, it had its problems, but I ran it quite well for a good hour and a half, just recording footage or whatnot to use for this video. So it was going decently enough. Now, what does this patch bring? Well, the usual stability and bug fixes, new Onyx facilities, mission distribution updates, hangar spawning, dynamic snow, ladder improvements, and the Volt Laser Sniper Zenith. Now we're going to get into all of these because this right here is the meat and potatoes of this 4.3 patch, and it's actually pretty cool, and it's actually offering a lot. Now for these Onyx mission locations, we are getting both a new mission giver and a new mission type, or actually it's a revival or a resurrection of an old mission type, the investigation mission. We used to have one of these ages ago, before Pyro ever came out. I think it was back before maybe even 3.0, where you could investigate the Kovalex facility. It wasn't really a PvP thing. It wasn't a fight against the enemies everywhere. It was just an investigation. You had to go and find the data pads and whatnot. Well, now we're getting something similar but expanded. These missions are going to take place in approximately 100 newly added abandoned research locations, the Onyx facilities, spread all throughout Stanton. These are going to have both players and mercenary NPCs alike, because they're derelicts, and they're derelict ASD installations, kind of like with the ASD facilities in Pyro, where you had to go and kill the giant sandworm. They're going to have radiation and other hazardous environments in them. You're going to have to solve puzzles. With the release of 4.3, there's only going to be 2 wings available, and then there'll be a third one coming. And the third one is supposed to be the cooperative zones that CIG talked about, but which have been now postponed. And we have these kind of PvE, PvP areas as well. And this is all part of the Regen Crisis narrative that's been going on. So you'll get the mission from Arkin Maller, and he'll send you to one of these ASD facilities, and you'll have to recover research data or, you know, what have you. There's only a few missions. I think there's 4 or 5 that take you to these facilities, and they each have differing goals. But again, it ties into the Regen Crisis. Once you complete the first quest, you get the other 4 that open up, where you can retrieve an energy anomaly data, security data, seismic data, or power usage data. Once you unlock them, you have to do them in succession, and once you've done that, they're repeatable in any order that you want, and they're all available in both wings of the facility. These 2 wings are the research labs and the engineering section. So with the research, you're going to be looking for audio logs and downloading stuff. When I went through it, in the background footage you're seeing, a lot of these things weren't working properly. I am not going to lie and say that this stuff is all working without a hitch when I was able to try it. But it is there. There's not a lot of combat involved, but there can be some. There were NPCs wandering around. You can also come across players, by the way. And it depends on if that player is a jerk. You might get involved in PvP, but I'll get into that after I go over the whole aspects of this facility. The other wing is the engineering, like I said, and there you're going to have to navigate through like hazardous areas of power areas, radiation zones, and that was absolutely true. I stepped into one spot that nearly killed me from the radiation because I was not prepared for it. I had to back off very, very quickly. Now, before I get in with the rest of the patch notes here, I want to talk about these facilities just a little bit. One, they are so far away from anything else, it's not funny. There are no quantum markers to them, even if you have the mission. So nobody is going to come out of quantum anywhere near them and spot that mission and be able to come up on you unawares. There's not like in all of the other sandbox activities. When you go there, there's nothing. There's a tower and 2 hangars, and you make a landing request, you land in it, and then you go in and you follow. The lobby is an actual armistice zone. So you can meet up with other players in there and get ready to play together, or you can come across another player and have a peaceful interaction. But once you enter the facility itself, you have a chance to engage in PvP. However, in the entire time I ran around this place, and I ran around another one as well after this footage was done, I only encountered one person. He did kill me. As soon as he saw me, he opened fire and killed me, but then he came over and resurrected me, like healed me up, because he realized I wasn't an NPC. The fact that these things are spread out so far from any of the points of interest on the moons and the planets, the fact that there are 100 of them, the fact that you need a mission in particular to even be pointed to one, and they put in place stuff to spread people out among them a bit more, you're not going to run into the same type of thing that we had in the ASD facilities in Pyro. Not even close. The way it seems is it's much more manageable. After all, it's open to all backers. Anyone can jump in on it right now, and they don't seem too crowded to me. The other thing is that they have a very creepy vibe, and they are absolutely huge. Now, like I said, some of the puzzles don't work, and I still haven't explored them all and found everything in it, but there's a lot to see in there. There's a lot to do. And I think very likely what we see in these facilities is going to be a lot of what we can expect with the distribution centers going forward, this type of underground area. In any case, this alone is worth taking a look at in 4.3, hands down. Now, the next update they have in the patch notes is mission distribution tech updates. So they've added a way of directing players around locations for missions that are unlimited, such as hauling, Wicklow, and the new Onyx location missions. This should greatly improve location spreading when many players are attempting the same mission, which is exactly the problem going on in live right now. It does seem to be working from my very limited experience, only a couple of hours with this patch right now, but I have not been running into players everywhere. I have not been showing up to these locations and seeing dead ships all spread around it like we are with the elevators in 4.2.1. If this works as intended, I really hope that they hotfix or port this without needing to be in the 4.3 patch. I hope they put it into the 4.2.1 live build, because this is absolutely needed. They added the sniper Zenith, the laser sniper, and I managed to find one of these and get some ammo for it in the facility, and damn if this thing isn't cool. It auto charges itself and you can hear it. There's an audible sound as it charges. You can see it visibly, and when it's fully charged, it'll take out pretty much anybody, any NPC in a single headshot. But you can also fire it DMR style. It's got some good kick to it, but a couple of shots will take out an enemy as well. So I think it's a versatile one. I'm showing you here the damage stats and all that kind of stuff. None of that really means anything to me. I can tell you that it feels good in combat. I don't know how well it'll do over a long distance, because where I got to try it was all closer quarters, but I did like it. They fixed an issue causing the Volt shotgun to cause unintentional knockdowns, and ammo type availability in stores was greatly increased and balanced around all weapon shops, which is kind of nice. I got tired a lot of the times of not being able to find the ammo in the store I expected it to. Adding on to the dynamic weather system, they've now added dynamic snow. This is only available on Stanton 4. It looks like snow. It still uses the rain effect, so it doesn't sound right. It's kind of off-putting. It looks all right. It doesn't accumulate yet. I'm not surprised by that. But you can be walking around outside, a cloud will roll in, and suddenly it'll start snowing. It's a nice little effect. I know they're going to improve that over time. Star Citizen, is nothing if not a beautiful looking game. Another big, really big quality of life update is the ladder updates. All this time, up until now, when you get on a ladder, you have not been able to look around. You haven't been able to look up or down, anything like that. Now, you can look around while you're on the ladder. You can look 180 degrees left and right while you're moving, or if you stand still, you can look all the way past behind you and kind of a little bit past the 180 plane from looking straight forward. You can jump on or off of it. You can get on it in the midpoint and get off it in the midpoint. You can lean on it, though I haven't figured out how to do that yet. If someone else is on the ladder, there's now collision, so you can't pass another person on the ladder, for instance. You have to be in first person to enter the ladder, which I think is good. And when you enter ladders that come into small spaces, you now crouch. I've put all this stuff to the test. This is the shit. This was a much needed quality of life update, and I'll give them full credit for it. It was needed. It seems to work. I haven't had any problems, aside from occasionally not wanting to step off the ladder at the bottom, not at the top. That's been fine. But at the bottom, it's a couple of times wanted to pull me back onto the ladder. But in that case, I just spacebar and jumped off it, and I was fine. This is huge. I love it, especially with when you go to some outposts. There are very tall areas with ladders on them. At least now you'll be able to look around while you're going up them. They also had a boatload of potential fixes. I'm not going to bother going through them all right here. A great deal of them focus on solving the elevator and transit problems and the cargo problems. They did solve, by the way, one problem with the elevators I forgot to mention earlier. You won't crash the elevator when you stack boxes at your deposit location. That was breaking them too. It might still happen on occasion, of course, but that one seems to have been fixed. It still doesn't make a difference on the elevators out in the outposts, but at least that bug has been fixed. But there's been a ton of potential fixes. We will see. Maybe they are the type of patch that I mentioned in the previous video that is too big for a hotfix. It requires being part of a full-size patch. I hope that it doesn't take a full month, another month for them to fix 4.2.1. But if they can get at least 4.2.1 elevators fixed, I think that'll be in a good state. And with all of the players now for Wave 1, or pardon me, all backers, able to jump on the PTU, I'm not going to lie, this is something that I wish that they'd have done a long time ago. They're always complaining that they haven't had enough people to look at it until it goes to the live, and that's when more people play it. So just open it up to everybody, and now they seem to have done that. And probably the live environment population has dropped drastically right now. Maybe those elevators will work today if you try it. But no, get as many people in there on the PTU testing this stuff before it goes out to the live, so you can squash as many bugs as possible. I hope that this works. I hope that this leads to a stable or stable-ish, more stable than what 4.2.1 was, release for 4.3. And I think that's probably the way forward for them. But in any case, that is all of the news right now. There was nothing really big. They changed the roadmap. It's the same with new color cards, but they, as I mentioned already, they took out the cooperative zones. The ship showdown is going on. You can find that out on the website. I've never taken part in that myself. Not really interested. So if you are, by all means, go ahead. Check it out on the website. You can do, I don't know, social media things and vote for your ships, and they eventually at the end a winner will get a skin, something like that. It's fun for those who like it, so go check it out if that's your bag. In any case, that is the update for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. Sound off in the comments below. Let me know what your experience is in 4.2.1, and if you're playing the 4.3 PTU, what's your experience in that? I'd love to know. Sound off in the comments below, and just let's have a good discussion about it. Until next time, though, I've been Rage8 Games, this is Star Citizen, and I'll see you in the verse. Bye.